ain't just the wins, it's the ride, the vibe. DJ and Dad's forever, keep the dream alive. DJ and Dad's Friday night bangers. Touchdown props flying like a Vegas Ranger. From best ball streets to the prop bet throne. Stacking green tickets, we never grind alone. DJ and Dad's turn the slate to gold. High risk, high reward, watch the story unfold. 9:30 Eastern, YouTube lights flash. DJ and Nation rise, let's freaking catch!
Welcome into the Fanspeak Network. I am your host for this evening, the TD King, Andrew Raub. Fortunately, Bruni not able to make it tonight. Had something pop up on him. Not on the IR, just questionable or out this week. Questionable to return next week. Hopefully we get him back and everything is fine in the Bruni household. Obviously, we got Mike Raub in the chat checking in, saying it's going to be a good show. Who Hames checking in, sup fam. We got Meg saying what's up. Joining me tonight though on the on the quick, sent out some messages trying to find out trying to find a guest here. Had one gentleman decide that he was able to join us this evening. You know him from the streets. He surely beat your ass in one of these contests or another. Mr. FK Coolers. FK, how are we doing? Tell the people about your wonderful life.
You got me fired up between that intro song and hyping me up, so I can't let you down this week. Doing pretty well. Thanks for having me on. It's really good to be part of the community and now join the show and talk about the slate a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, happy to have you on. Obviously, we see you in the streets constantly. I told the story last week how for the Thanksgiving slate, I randomly popped in at like 12 something at night, and you were in one of the drafts. You were the one pick, and I'm like, this guy. I'm thinking I'm drafting at 12:30 at night. Maybe a little soft room. No, FK in the 1.1, and I'm like, all right, well, there goes the minus EV play for this draft. So, yeah, it's very exciting to have you on. Obviously, what was that? A couple weeks ago now, you shipped a contest?
Yeah, so I took down the Wildcat a couple of weeks ago. It was that game where the Eagles and Cowboys just kept going back and forth and putting points on the board. So I got super lucky where I got the right Emmanuel Wilson swap as well as a round 6 pick, and that's really what got me over the finish line.
Yeah, that's awesome. It has eluded me so far. I've never shipped the contest. Been so close so many times. Have tasted victory. Been in first late into slates, and then it just slowly slips out of the grasp. So I'm envious of your goat horns, envious of the ability to actually ship one of these damn things. So hopefully tonight you can not only help me but help the people figure out Week 14 slate. Which, for those best ballers, this is the final week before playoffs start. How exciting of a time to be alive for us that we are now living in Week 14. There are teams on bye. We got buys, last set of them, right? So hopefully your teams can either flourish into the advancement or at least stay there and maintain. How are you doing so far in the best ball streets?
So for the season long, I kind of hit the streets pretty hard in the off season. I booked about almost 2,000 total drafts between DraftKings and Underdog. And I'm looking at about a 22% advance rate on Underdog as of now, and about a 28% on DraftKings. That being said, I did attack the Patriots and 49ers pretty hard, obviously 2 of the key teams on the bye. So I'm bracing for a little dip in the advance rates, but at this point, we mainly cross our fingers that there's no injuries or big game changers as we head the final stretch,
Yeah, call me the fantasy reaper this year because my best ball teams have been decimated by injury. I mean, I was so heavily invested in Joe Burrow, and he goes down, and the story will write itself at the end of the season for me, where I need to sun run some teams to be able to collect the dough back that was invested. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, that is how it rolls in the best ball community. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you don't, but that's why we have dailies. Dailies never fail us. Every week we get to go in and try to win some money. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun one to be able to talk to you about the slate and pick your brain. Obviously, Mike Raub has provided us once again with the daily sheet. We will go through there. I'm gonna have you kind of just ask me about maybe some guys that you like on the slate, and we'll pull up some data on them, see if maybe what your brain is thinking is what the sheet is telling us as well. So let's pull that up here. I'm gonna grab that real quick here for us. Let's see here. Week 14 data machine, by the way, is what this is called. I love that Mike titled it Week 14 data machine, because that is what this thing is. Mike Raub has provided us once again with this sweet ass sheet that has way more information than I really need, but it is nice to look through. Sometimes when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to use it on the daily street, but for those who turned into Friday Night DGen Dads, last week I had an excellent week. Props all hit. We had some touchdowns come in, some nice ATS hits as well. So I do dive into this sheet when looking for some bets for people. So if you aren't already joining us on Friday night for DGen Dads, you should be. We are helping you earn money that way outside of the daily street. All right, let's start over at the quarterback breakdown. Anything in particular that sticks out to you that maybe you're like, you know what, I could see myself going a little bit more on this guy than what the slate has?
I think the obvious big decision point this week is just how do you really want to treat Josh Allen with as high as he goes relative to every other quarterback? As someone who maxes, I suspect I'll come in kind of level to the field because I actually like some of these later quarterbacks. And the bigger issue for me, which I guess we'll get into, is I think a lot of the good running backs are in really, really good spots this week compared to previous weeks. So for me, it's a little hard to get to too much Josh because then you start ignoring those running backs a little more than I prefer. I would say after Josh, I think the next obvious one is Stafford. And then I think it actually kind of gets blurry. I mean, Lamar just doesn't look himself. I think we all see that. Had probably the worst game in multiple years recently. So it's kind of a rough click when he's like the third QB coming off the board. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. When I look and the first 6 picks generally off the board are Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, JSN, Cooks, Chase, and then you have Josh Allen sitting there on the swing. So you're right. Like if you're on the swing pick, do you take Josh Allen, which when we look over at the sheet here, opponent defense for him, which again, this week is the Bengals. They rank 4th best for passing yards allowed at 265 on average, 4th best for touchdowns allowed, averaging almost 2 a game. And then quarterback rushing yards are 21st, 15.9. But sometimes when I look at this, that is a little skewed depending on who they've played. If you haven't played a lot of quarterbacks that like to use their legs, that can be a little skewed. And we know Josh Allen right now, big time Josh, coming out quite often, recently with his legs, getting in the end zone plenty. We know that is definitely part of their game plan and his game style. So, yeah, I mean, what do you do right at the end there? Do you take Josh Allen, or are you taking if Chase falls to you, maybe a Chase Puka? Do you go Puka and then maybe grab one of these RBs, which after Puka is Bijan, Jacobs, and Henry. So you're right. Like there's a kind of a Sophie's choice of do you take Josh Allen, who may end up being the QB1 on the week, or do you flip-flop and wait for some of these guys? So you mentioned Matt Stafford. Let me pull him up here because he is interesting. But the sheet kind of maybe not tells us to go that route. So Matt Stafford obviously is quarterback 2 playing the Cardinals. Cardinals defense 13th best, allowing 233 passing yards on average, 19th best at allowing 1.4, so almost 1.5 passing touchdowns a game, and then ranking 27th, which does not matter for Matthew Stafford for quarterback rushing yards. If we see Matt Stafford run, he is in emergency mode at that point. So Stafford and running does not happen. So yeah, I mean, you're right there. Like Stafford is interesting. The sheet tells us, a middling defense, right? Like not the best that you want to see, but definitely not the worst. I think with Stafford though, it's like the weapons around him, Puka and Adams, both going within the first 2 rounds generally here. So when you look at that, you got to have a pretty kind of high investment because Stafford's going ADP 22, which generally that takes you to about the maybe end of round 3, into round 4, depending on where you're picking there. Yeah, I mean, are you more into, let's say, a Puka and Stafford, or are you more into like a Josh Allen and let's say T. Higgins on the bring back?
Probably a 50-50 split as someone who maxes it, because there's a few really good games, but then there's a really big cliff as far as game environments go to me. So like I basically identified 3 or 4 games I like a lot. They might be kind of the obvious ones, but I just want to attack those more than the field. So I kind of want all the permutations within that Bills game. And then for the Rams, I'm kind of not into the Cardinal side as much yet, but I might warm up to it. But I just really see the ceiling for Puka or Adams, which just naturally leads you to Stafford, because I think stacking is just so key in tournaments like this. We've seen the naked QB win a couple times. Usually it's not a guy like Stafford, though, who doesn't run at all. Usually someone will punch one in, and that's what gives them the ceiling game, more like a Caleb. So if I'm going to be taking the Rams receivers heavily, I think it just guides me into a decent amount of Stafford this week too.
Yeah, and Chat Lord asking, are you ever drafting both Puka and Adams? Which I assume if you're doing that, you're also drafting Stafford, because, why not,
Yeah.
right?
My answer would be yes in smaller fields. I'm just not sure that they could both hit a score of, let's call it 20 to 25 each at the receiver position to take down a Wildcat. So probably leaning single stacks in the BR and the Wildcat. But if you play something like the victory formation where you only have to beat 500 people, I love double stacks in small fields, because you don't have to have the optimal score on the week. You just need a good score. So I would say the smaller the field, the more I lean into double stacks, because you don't have to be optimal at every position or damn close to it.
Right. Yeah. No. And you bring up a good point. Like in the massive contest like Wildcat and the Battle Royale, like that, you definitely need the nuts, right? Like that's how you win it. But you're in a smaller contest, like you said, victory formation, where there's not so many people. Yeah. You're just looking for points. You're not looking for the ceiling, essentially, because you don't really need to get there. Is it nice to get there in that? Yeah. Like you're going to blow the competition out of the water if you hit the nuts on that. But yeah, that brings up a good point. And obviously everyone should be thinking about that when you go into these contests. When you're selecting what contest you want to enter, you should definitely be thinking about strategy for that contest. You shouldn't have a blanket strategy, right? Like I know, other people will tell you that on shows too, but that's the honest truth, as FK is pointing out. So good note there. You mentioned another QB. Who did you mention?
Well, I started talking about all the question marks around Lamar and how it feels a little dicey for him to be coming off the board as the third one in every draft so far. So for me, the next cluster that we would talk about, I think, would be kind of like Lamar, Burrow, and then maybe even guys like Baker and Nix. It all starts they're all within 1 or 2 fantasy points of each other. So I think you just have to start ranking your preferences there and kind of analyzing the rest of the board and what you want to do.
Yeah, and obviously Lamar facing the old Pittsburgh Steelers. Defensive ranks for that, they are 6th best at allowing passing yards, 264 on average, 11th best passing touchdowns, a little over 1.5 a game, and then ranking 22nd at 15.67 quarterback rushing yards, which should matter for Lamar, but he really isn't rushing, right? Like we haven't seen an absolute ton of it. Now, I still like Lamar, because Lamar's one of those guys that in any week, if he really turns it on and he has a good week, like he can be QB1. So I do like Lamar at QB3. I did see a limited participant in practice this week. Obviously, I think he's fine, but just something of note. When you look at the sheet, though, it does tell us overall he has a fairly good matchup here. Pittsburgh Steelers defense has not been what Pittsburgh Steelers defense should be, right? So it can be exploited for sure. Hey, Mark Andrews re-signing extension here with the Ravens. Yeah. So, maybe that's the jump they need. Maybe Lamar's like, hey, we got Andrews 3 more years. Like, let's start, getting this man way more involved. We already got him. Let's put pedal to the metal. So maybe this week he does turn it on, because again, he hasn't really had a good game. Last 3 games, absolute dog shit. 6, 7, and 7 points. That is terrible for Lamar. Sure. When you look at Cleveland and the Jets, those make sense. Those are decent defense. Cleveland's a good defense, obviously, but the Jets have been playing better ever since they got rid of some players. They just all of a sudden played a little better. So that kind of makes sense to me. But then when you look at the Bengals game, no excuse for the Bengals game. Absolutely none. I know Derrick Henry had a good game, but Lamar should still have a good game versus the Bengals. So no excuses for Lamar, but I do think that there is something to be had with Lamar this week against a divisional foe that he has played many times. And when we go to the total team breakdown, and we go to the Ravens here, historical data for Lamar Jackson versus Pittsburgh. He has all games played 8, He's averaging about 161 passing yards, averaging 1 touchdown, averaging 41.2 rushing yards per game as well. So his rushing has been pretty good versus the Steelers. You'd like to see a little bit more over here. So I think that he could have a good game. What is the percentage that you want to own of Lamar this week? Is it more or less than 7% of your portfolio?
Probably more, but not aggressively more. If I got to the end of my 150 and I was sitting at 10 or 12%, I'd feel okay with that. If I was sitting at 18 or 20%, I'd feel like I maybe didn't scroll enough in my drafts, and I'd be a little concerned.
Okay. Meg bringing up Burrow. Let's pop over to Burrow real quick and just check him out here.
Yeah, I like the spot for Burrow too. I just love that game environment.
Yeah, that's what Meg's saying. I'm just gonna type it in here. All right, Joey Burr. Opponent defensive ranks, not great. They are the best at keeping quarterbacks from passing all over them. They ranked obviously 32, passing yards 177. So you don't love to see that. Passing touchdowns allowed, only 1 even, ranking 28, also not great. And then quarterback rushing yards 22 a game, ranking 7th. So not a great matchup, but as you alluded to, probably a pretty good game environment that the Bengals and Bills have here, because we know the Bills can put up points and we know their defense can be exploited. We've seen it multiple times this year. Burrow coming back, I think when he came back and already scored over 20 points in the first game. He came back fired up, right? Like we talked about this last week on Burrow about how the time away, I think, probably created that inner fire that some of these guys get at the beginning of seasons. I think Burrow has that burning inside him right now. So he has Chase. Hopefully Higgins back, as Meg alluded to here. He did practice today. So I think Higgins probably a good opportunity to play this week, which would be excellent for Joe Burrow. So Burrow going off as QB4. I'm going to do a this or that again on you, just because I think we don't go over this a whole lot when Bruni and I are on, but I do think it's something that we should dive into a little bit more. Is when you're in these real drafts, you have these decisions all the time. When you pick somebody and then you're coming down and you're like, shit, who do I pick now? So Burrow going around ADP 25. So let's say you are picking, all right, let's say you're picking 4th. All right, you can have James Cook. So you're taking Cook and then Burrow. Or would you prefer something like Jamar Chase and Stafford?
I'm going to say Cook and Burrow because in my own ranks, I think you can justify Cook as the 1.2 this week. So I want to be over the field on Cook. So I would take that combo for that reason.
What if Cook gets taken and you have JSN? So you have JSN and you take Burrow, and then you potentially have the option to take Higgins after the Burrow. Are you still into that, even though it's not Cook? So be JSN
definitely.
Burrow.
Yeah. So I prioritize the stacks heavily. The bringbacks in the same game are obviously nice to haves, but they're not necessarily a priority or something I reach for. So yeah, like in that case, I'm just always still taking Burrow if I can get T. It kind of doesn't matter who I got in round 1 in that situation. And I'm checking out Mike's chat.
Yeah. Mike pointing out that you are the best Lamar news.
I'm not in sales, but apparently I know how to play to the crowd. So I'll take it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and you're right, with how you're looking at that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about drafting either, is like Huhames pointed out last week, it's building from the back, knowing like, all right, you're taking somebody up top. Like, how do you want to play that guy? You're not just in here willy-nilly picking guys, right? You're trying to build a story or build that strategy. So when you're taking James Cook, if you want to do the bring back, you're already knowing like, all right, I want to try to get Burrow. I'm going to target him coming into round 4 or whatever the case may be. And then how do I want to play that? Do I just want those two from that game? Or do I want to also take T. Higgins, or, if you want to get really crazy, like a Mike Gesicki or something of that nature, right? Like to stack with Burrow. So I think that's very important, for people to realize too, if you don't already do that when you are in drafts.
Definitely just don't take best available and put no thought into the future pick. Like as you get your reps in each week, you should start to remember the cluster of players who are going to be available around your next pick, right? So you can try to set your teams up 1 and 2 rounds in advance and just have the general understanding of what are my 2 or 3 favorite options that are going to be available with each upcoming pick. And what I try to do, sorry if this is too much, but I try to have like a pivot plan where I'm like, and if this guy gets sniped, I don't want to be on the clock having this oh shit moment and trying to figure it out as it's ticking down. I like to have that pivot mapped out to the best of my ability and kind of be ready to swerve and go to plan B.
Yep. So just speaking of strategy for a second here, when you're doing the larger field contest, the Wildcats and what have you, how often are you to deviate from what we know works of the 1-2-2-1?
Not too frequently, to be honest. When we have a slate of, say, 11 games, 12 games, I'll mix in, I'll say this, I never do 2 tight ends. I just don't. And I think the data bears it out. They win on small slates sometimes. One of them got close last week, but it took 2 huge ceiling games. It just doesn't work, in my opinion. I'll do 3 wide receivers, predominantly if one of the really good ones starts falling past ADP. So it's not purposely something I set out to do. It's more like if the pick gets to me and there's a guy a full round past ADP, I'm like, okay, I guess this might be a 3 wide receiver team.
Okay, so you're really only doing it when the board tells you like
Yeah.
it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I would say in a given week, I probably don't end up with more than 10 or 12 3 wide receiver teams out of my 150 drafts, just to ballpark it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So you're really sticking to what we know
Yeah.
works, the 1-2-2-1, which, if anyone goes and looks at the data, that definitely works a lot of the time, and we generally see a lot of the winners have 2 running backs. So now, what do you do when, let's say there is, here, let's look at the running backs here. So we got, Taylor, HN, Cook, Bijan, Jacobs, Henry. So how many do we have here that probably are good picks? Maybe you might have 12 to 13 on the slate, maybe 14. What do you do if there is a slate where it's not like that, where it's maybe you have 9 that you feel really comfortable with, and those 9 go before you end up truly taking 2? Like what do you do in that scenario? Because if the board doesn't command you to take 3, but you lose out on the running backs that you really like, are you still taking a running back because that's what you think you should do, or are you pivoting?
By and large, I'm still taking running backs because even in those ugly weeks, if you were to look at, like, let's say if you were to buy projections from a site like Establish the Runner or whoever, it doesn't matter. Even those ugly running backs are probably going to project for something like 10 or 11 or 12 fantasy points, but the wide receivers in that range might project for like 8 or 9. So I think you start sacrificing a little bit too much in projected points if you go super 3 wide receiver heavy. So it's tough to answer, right? Because you kind of have to see it in real time when you draft. But my guess is I would have a little more 3 wide receiver in a week like that, but I'm not deviating from 1-2-2-1 like some aggressive amount, like any full slate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just curious. For the
I'm not the best at explaining these things either, so feel free to pepper me with follow-up questions if I don't do a good job.
No.
I never had to say it out loud before. I'm like, how do I do this?
No, you're fine, and you're right. Like it is more of a case-by-case scenario, in my opinion too. Like it just depends on what the board looks like and how you want to pivot off of that. So yeah, no, I think that's fine. And I know we didn't say this yet, but this is the debut of FK Coolers on camera. So for those of you who, obviously you can't tell, it looks like a natural already, but for those of you that didn't know that, he has debuted his presence on the Fanspeak network. So we definitely appreciate you doing that as well.
I don't even turn the camera on Zoom for work. So yeah, I'm really out of my, that's not to say that you should be thankful. It's more to say I'm really out of my element. I don't even get practice at my day job.
No, it's funny though, and when people say like, hey, I don't really do a lot of shows, or I've never been on them. Like all it is talking ball, right? Like this is easy. You do this with other people. So again, we appreciate you coming on.
Anytime.
As we were talking, I was just looking at some of the rankings here. So Baker Mayfield, right? QB5, playing the lonely old Saints. Baker has played the Saints enough times. All games played versus New Orleans. He has 6 total. He's averaging 237 yards per game, averaging 2 passing touchdowns. That is a lot better than we've seen. And then averaging about 21 rushing yards per game as well. If we go to the quarterback breakdown here, let's just take a look at Bakey Bake here, because I do think Baker is interesting, which I have a little soft spot for Baker. The most amount of money I've ever. Oh, Mike Rob, what do we do down here? Why does it say NA? The most Oh, here it's because he probably doesn't have. I think it's because it doesn't say Buccaneers up here. Oh, I can't change it. It's all good. Baker that has helped me make the most amount of money on Underdog. I did finish 5th in a battle royale once and ship 5 Gs. And that was a
Nice.
Baker double stack. So I do love Baker. So when I look at Baker on a field, I always just there's a part of me that just really, really wants to take Baker. But I think this week is a good time to take Baker again. Like he pretty much owns the Saints, right? He also hates the Saints. He's talked about this before. He absolutely despises the Saints. So the fire in Baker this week is probably burning bright. When you look at what the Bucks have to draft this week, you obviously have Bucky Irving, RB7, ADP 14. You have Egbuka, wide receiver 6, ADP 18. And then Chris Godwin, depending on how you want to play these Baker things, Godwin's wide receiver 22, Cade Otton, tight end 15. So that's pretty much free. No one's going to take Cade Otton if you want to get that crazy. But when you look at Baker, who owns the Saints, who probably, for all intents purposes, should have a pretty good game, and Mike just fixed that in real time for us. Did everyone see that? That was amazing. Well done, chat lord. So the opposing defenses for the Saints, 202 passing yards allowed. That's 27. So not great. 1.67 passing touchdowns allowed. That is a little better than average there. And then quarterback rushing yards, 15.25, ranking 24th. So their defense is like, okay. It's not, they don't allow a ton of passing yards, but they do allow passing touchdowns, which we all know touchdowns are king on Underdog. So when you look at Baker, who owns the Saints, and you look at how these players are being drafted, Baker as QB5, Egbuka, wide receiver 6, Godwin, wide receiver 22, Otton, tight end 15. How would you want to play Baker if you want to grab Bucks?
I think it's just pretty much sticking to the obvious Baker Egbuka stack. Godwin, I don't mind, and he is starting to look a little better, but I haven't figured out if I'll prefer him in 12-man drafts or if I'll warm up to him in 6-man. Otton, not exactly a priority for me as all the weapons, aside from Evans, start to come back and round into form because I don't know how much volume will be there for Otton. And I think it's actually a pretty good tight end slate overall. So I think it's really just Baker, Egbuka, and it's early in the week, but that Baker ADP is like sitting at like 31 right now. And I don't jam exposures, but he's probably going to be my second or third favorite quarterback at this rate if that ADP just like stays down there all the way until Sunday, because I really love that game environment overall, and I like attacking that game too.
Yeah, are you thinking that it could be a big Bucky day, that Bucky ruins Baker at all?
Potentially, and that's where I would hedge it a little bit, right? Because I also like Bucky a lot. Like I just want to grab a bunch of Tampa Bay pieces, and then I do like some of the New Orleans bringbacks, but again, not exactly priority. So I can see myself wanting to be over the field on Bucky. And then obviously in the drafts where I'm not taking Bucky, maybe it's the Egbuka Baker. And then I honestly think you can mix in just a little bit of Bucky and Baker with the number of targets that Bucky has shown in the past. I wouldn't be doing it heavily, but sometimes the field just doesn't link up these quarterbacks and running backs much at all, to the point where even if you just do it a little bit and that goes off, you have a huge edge on the field. So I would consider that as well.
Yeah. I agree on everything you said there. Do you find any value in taking the Baker and Godwin? Do you think a Godwin, like last week, he saw 5 targets, he saw 4 the week before that. So if the trend continues, he should see 6-ish, 7 for, oh God, for the kids, I just said 6, 7. Oh God, please don't cancel me. Yikes, terrible thing. But like, do you think that we see that where he's gonna, get a little bit more involved with that at all?
Yeah, and just the way that I draft, like part of my strategy is the more I take a QB in drafts, the more I kind of expand on that like depth chart. So if I find myself taking a lot of Baker, then I absolutely will be drafting Godwin in round 6, because I'd be surprised if he's like 15 or 20% owned in the Wildcat. I think he'll be pretty low owned. So the fact that Tampa has like a team total of like 25.5 really, to me, that kind of opens the door for any of the pass catchers to potentially have a 2-touchdown day. So like I have to at least want a little Godwin exposure for that reason alone.
Yeah, and I didn't watch a lot of the game last week of the Bucks and the Cardinals, but I did see Godwin did get an end zone target, so they did try to
Mhm.
get him a
Yeah,
touchdown.
they did.
So I don't know if he had any more than that, but I did see at least one in there. So it is nice to know that they are at least looking towards him in the end zone. Obviously, we know Ibuka, at this point in his career, definitely just a better wide receiver than Godwin right now.
Yeah.
And I think he lends to taking the best coverage, which obviously helps Godwin. It's like what Godwin had with Evans, right? Like he doesn't have to have the best coverage on him. So,
Mhm.
man, if only Evans was coming back, Baker would be an absolute smash play this week. If he had all those guys, oh boy. Baker's going to be fun when Evans comes back, when we get into the later part of the season or even into playoffs if the Bucks are in there.
Yes,
Baker will be
absolutely.
very fun to play in those slates.
Yeah, all those, yeah, not to talk about the season long too much, but all those Bucks they're pretty low advance rate players. So, and they have that soft schedule that hasn't changed one bit. So I think they could be a team that you really need in weeks 15 to 17.
Yeah, it'll be really nice. I was heavy on the Bucks and got some that looked like they're going to be going through. So
Mhm.
let's go Bucks. All right. Any other quarterbacks here that you kind of wanted to look for? What one that I there was two that stuck out to me again that I was kind of
Mhm.
going down here. I want to check out Bo Nix versus Las Vegas because I mean
Yeah.
Vegas has been able to get thrown on here, so I wanted to see what their rankings are.
It's funny,
Uh,
that was gonna be the first name I'd mention if you threw it to me.
yeah,
Next for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, because Nick's obviously, like, if we look at his past games here, only 17, 12, and 7 over the last three. But before that, he was 20 plus essentially. So
Mhm.
he's an interesting one as well, who is going right behind Baker as QB6. The Vegas Raiders ranking 18th, allowing 223 passing yards, 14th, allowing passing touchdowns of 1.5, and then rushing yards of 12.58. So when we look at that, Bo Nix has a decent complementary of wide receivers around him. There's the Troy Franklin, there's the Marvin Mims, of course, there's Sutton. And
Mhm.
then we actually saw against the Commanders, Evan Ingram pop back up as a nice, reliable target for Bo Nix. So, when we're looking at that, the cast of misfits that he has is good. This could be one of those games that Bo Nix has a really nice game.
Mhm.
But with that said, we have seen Sean Payton kind of show us that RJ Harvey is definitely able to get the work inside the red zone, which is, I think, hurting Bo Nix a little bit with the passing touchdown opportunities. Over the last 3 weeks, he only has 2 passing touchdowns. Before that, the 2 previous games, before those, he had 2 and 4. But RJ Harvey just kind of killing Bo Nix a little bit here. So when you look at Bo Nix, do you think what's the ceiling game for you? And then also, do you think that this is just all going to come crashing down because RJ Harvey continuously steals the touchdowns?
I still think Nix has a ceiling of about 25 or so in him because he has shown the ability to run in the past, and you never know when he might decide to take off and run one in. But mostly, I'm not a big Knicks fan overall. Like I'm actually not even sure he's any good to begin with, but that's a story for another day. But it's more just how bad the Raiders are, and really the Raiders could just present so many scoring opportunities for Denver, either through turning the ball over, having their drive stall out. If Denver's defense is holding up well, I could just see this thing where maybe in the second half, Denver has just ground the Raiders into a nub, and that's when they could start running up the points, whether it's through Harvey or Nick. So to your point, it's just a team level that I like again. And I don't know where I might go with the pass catchers, but their ADPs are all sitting there for basically free. None of them are going early. You don't have to worry about being sniped. If you want Knicks, you can always stack him. That's a round 5 and 6 thing you can do to end your drafts anytime you want to do it, basically.
Yeah, and Steve's pointing in here. He's fine with Sutton, but don't know about Franklin after he disappeared versus Washington, which, I mean, obviously as a Commanders fan, I have seen this defense get passed on a bunch. So
Yeah.
did kind of think that Franklin and Mims might have had better days. But with that said, as I alluded to, Evan Ingram popped his head up and had a really nice game. So, maybe it was just game plan for them because obviously Bobby Wagner can't cover shit. So Evan Ingram just had his way with Bobby Wagner. So maybe it was just scheming up Evan Ingram as opposed to needing Franklin or Marvin Mims. Do you think that that's true at all?
I think so, and I think Who Hames is going to like what I say next, but like Pat Bryant is seeing the field a ton now. I think part of it's just how good of a blocker he is and how bad of a blocker Ingram is. but that guy has been out there like 75% of the time. Probably not enough for me to draft him in something like a Wildcat, mind you, but I do think that's playing into what could be limiting Franklin, is leaning on Bryant being out there to like really lay the wood in the blocking game and help out Harvey.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, and obviously I like Pat Bryant as well. I took him a lot in the rookie and sophomores this year. So let's go Pat Bryant. If you could just overtake and be the number 2 on the team, I would absolutely love that. But yeah, no, you're right. It really all depends. I do think that there's something for Bo Nix this week though. Again, the Raiders stink. So if you want to take yourself some Nix and Sutton, some Nix and Ingram, or if you do want to get a little crazy and maybe get back on the Troy Franklin train, I think in the larger contest where you got to take some risks, I think that is okay to do on a lineup or two, just in case. But yeah, I think we're sticking with Nix and Ingram with Sutton. Okay, the other one that I at least think is interesting because he just got back his wide receiver 1, just got back his tight end, and obviously traded to the team. Jacoby Myers has looked very well, but Trevor Lawrence versus the Colts this week. Just wanted to take a peeky here because obviously Sunshine has had some terrible games. I mean, it's not always great over there in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, but he does get up for games and has good games. And I mean, look at what he did against Kansas City weeks ago, right? Like he had a really nice game that week. This is another very big game for them. This is like for division lead right here. So very big game. It is at home for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence, just overall has a nice cast around him. Like, once again, BTJ there, Jacoby Myers, Brenton Strange. He has his boy Travis Etienne, and Tootin is at least there. God knows what they're going to do with him from week to week. But how do you feel about Trevor Lawrence? I mean, if you look here, the Colts are ranking 5th best, allowing 265 passing yards. Does not look like we are going to have Mr. Sauce Gardner out there as he's come up with an injury. Did we see a definite on that? What is he out or?
I'm pretty behind on the injuries, honestly. I usually do my catch up during Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, Steve, chat. Anybody know what's up with Sauce Gardner? Is he like out for a game, out for the season? Saw him limp off and never really saw anything after that. So he said, Mike Robb said, only people who are into some Kings shape stuff draft Trevor Lawrence.
I might have something to admit on stream then, because Lawrence was actually the other QB name.
Yeah,
I had after Nix.
It's interesting because, again, so here the passing touchdowns allowed 1.3, ranking 21st, and then they don't allow a lot of quarterback rushing yards. But again, that is sometimes a skewed metric here. But a lot of passing yards, which very nice cast around him. So what are you doing with T-Law?
So Lawrence, I don't mind, which feels weird to say because that's another guy I usually enjoy hating on. But he's actually playing well recently, to your point. So I don't mind attacking that in a good game environment while he seems to be playing better than his baseline. I do think the tough part, though, is the fact that the Jags do spread the ball around quite a bit. So if I had to narrow it down to stacking targets I would go after, probably Myers and Strange, and not necessarily in that order. It might just depend on how I was drafting earlier and if I need a wide receiver or I need a tight end. I'll mix in BTJ. I don't know if I'll get to anyone else. And it still feels weird to rank Myers over BTJ, but I kind of think that's where I'm at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't want to take Strange with T-Law?
No, I do. I definitely do.
Oh, okay.
It's more, sorry, in my head, I was trying to figure out if I would prioritize Myers or Strange, but I don't think I actually have a priority. It would just come down to, do I need a wide receiver or do I need a tight end in this pod?
Yep.
So I like those two equally. I don't think I want to stack ETN with him at all. I don't even know how much ETN I want to draft this week. The running back stuff seems to be in flux kind of a lot, Tootin's getting in the mix just enough to be annoying and also getting touchdown opportunities. So I think it calls into question, what's the real ceiling there in something like a Wildcat.
Yep. No, that checks out and makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I like Strange a lot. He's going off, tight end 4 off the board this week. He's had 5 and 4 targets, but he had 93 yards and 45 yards and a touchdown last week. So he's averaging all but 12 a game, just coming back from injury. So that's really nice to see for a tight end that we know was involved in the offense and pretty heavily involved actually before he went out with injury. So it's nice that as soon as he came back, the role was there for him. And obviously we know Trevor Lawrence likes him. He talked up, Brenton Strange over the summertime in the offseason a lot as well. So I think Brenton Strange is a pretty good pick this week because I do like the matchup for him. So I say T-Law definitely a decent option this week for you. And again, he's going as QB8, so we know he's not being drafted in every draft. Kind of gets you a little bit more unique off the field there. Any other quarterbacks that you wanted to hit on at all? I mean, when I kind of look at the rest of them, hard matchups for a lot of these guys. Sam Darnold stank last week.
Yeah,
awful. And now he takes on the Falcons, who have been formidable for a majority of the season. Caleb plays the Packers. I don't know if anybody loves that matchup per se. But anybody else that you want to talk about quarterback wise?
Maybe a couple darts I'll throw for like low exposure and hoping that they're also low owned would be Jordan Love and actually, you know what, maybe him. I was going to say Brissett, but I don't think he'll be low owned. I just think Brissett's worth bringing up if Arizona is going to continue to throw the ball 40 and 45 times.
You like that though versus the Rams? Like it's
no, I don't.
The matchup stinks for Brissett.
But it felt weird to just not bring his name up at all. It's so much volume, but at the same time, I'm with you. I really don't like the matchup. Like this could be the week that he just doesn't find a way to get there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And especially because the Rams are coming off a loss. Like I don't love that for a team that's playing so well, and then they get embarrassed by the Panthers. Like they're gonna come out and fuck Brissett up. Like I
kind of think that too. Like this feels like a good spot for the Rams to just lay it on in the first half and just stomp them out.
Definitely, yeah. I say peek behind the DGen Dad's curtain for Friday night, but expect me to be on the Rams. And you just said it. I think a really nice play for the Rams is the first half. Take them first quarter, first half, or whatever the line is, because I think they're going to come out and absolutely blow Brissett up, unfortunately. Okay, so let's flip over to tight ends, because you made a comment about it being a pretty nice tight end week, which I don't disagree with you. How many tight ends on the board, though, when you look at the rankings, do you want?
I think a lot, because I think tight end is like where you can really break away from the pack in something like this, because it's kind of a low scoring position to begin with. So if you find that low owned tight end, like we've seen Kyle Pitts just go off for like 18 points a couple times this year, and he was like 8% owned. Like those are the types of things I mean. So I might own like 10 or 12 tight ends this week. Mind you, not all equal exposure, right? Like I'll probably be heavy up top between McBride, Bowers to some extent, love Warren, like Strange a lot. But then I just grab like 5 and 6% exposure to a bunch of those tight ends with good game totals, good game environment. So that's one thing I do as a macro strategy each week is I kind of spread it pretty thin at tight end, and you just hope you stumble into a 2-touchdown guy or something.
Yep. So when I'm looking at the board here, like I'm going to go down. You just say yes or no on if this is somebody that you want to have in the portfolio. So we'll obviously start at the top. It's going to be a lot of yeses. McBride.
Yep.
Yeah. Bowers. Warren.
Warren might be my number one priority, by the way. I think with the matchups and the game environments, like I don't mean I'll have 40% exposure, but I'm not as into McBride and Bowers this week. I like Warren a lot.
Okay. Strange.
Definitely.
What about Kincaid? Questionable right now, remains limited, but a decent matchup.
Yeah, if he's on the field, I have to draft him against that defense. Like you can't fade tight ends against that defense. Like they find a way. How do you look at these guys that are on the questionable tag, like Kincaid, that is tight end 5? It's not like he's tight end 13 and it doesn't really matter. He's tight end 5. How are you playing this early in the week like this before we get a definite answer? It looks like his ADP is still round 5 or 6, which I'm okay with. I think I would predominantly stick to taking him only when I've taken Allen. I wouldn't just start picking Kincaid at random when I don't have Josh Allen or when I'm not within that game. But I think I don't mind stacking him with Allen a lot, even when we don't know if he's going to play or not. Because again, I think the tight end slate's pretty deep overall, and I don't think I'll mind the swap options if I have to swap. Okay. It's more, and again, just to touch on this, it's more like as I'm drafting as someone who does 150, I kind of am thinking of if I do think there's a chance this guy's going to be out, like what's the most percent I want, just because of how Underdog treats their swaps, right? Like you're stuck doing the top of your ranking. So I don't want to swap like 27% into like Jawan Johnson, So at some point I have to say, what's the most Kincaid I want if there's a chance he'll be out?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a good answer, though. I mean, if you're really just at this point only stacking with Allen until we know.
Mhm.
So once we know that he's in, would you then pivot off of only taking it with Allen, or is that strictly how you're going to draft it no matter what?
No. If we know he's in, I prefer to get my tight ends with their quarterbacks because that's obviously how you're going to maximize ceiling. But if you find that a certain tight end falls within your favorite, let's call it 5 to 7 guys, I definitely don't mind having them unstacked. I'm
Yeah.
fine mixing them in where it makes sense.
Okay. All right. So what about Mark Andrews this week?
Probably. I don't think he'll be a priority. But yeah, I don't think he'll be a priority, but I'll definitely be drafting him.
Okay.
He might be a guy where I'm going to be a little hypocritical and say, maybe I don't want him when I don't have Lamar. It's kind of a case by case basis for me. If I'm lukewarm on him to begin with, I might just want him as a stack piece because he really is a touchdown guy. I mean, he's not getting 70 and 80 yards a game anymore because he just doesn't have a lot of juice left.
Yeah. What about Harold Fannin versus Tennessee?
Fannin, I don't mind. I'm not in the Shooter fan club by any means, but it's hard to dislike a matchup against the Titans. And Fannin is a guy who does have juice. You know, he can get 30 or 40 yards. He can get these chunk plays. So I certainly don't mind mixing him in. And I'm sure I'll have 0% Browns quarterback. So I have to have Fannin unstacked if I want him.
Okay. Zach Ertz versus Minnesota.
I like Ertz. I'm not sure if last week is repeatable.
I'll say 13 targets last week,
man.
10 for 106. I mean, the man was just getting peppered.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing is too, I want to say he got like 7 or 8 targets the game before. So the targets wasn't a fluke.
The game before.
Yep. Yeah. So if he's going to get 6 to 8 targets as a baseline, I don't think he'll get 13, but 6 to 8 in a pretty decent matchup overall, like he's absolutely in the mix for me.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to decide based on who's in at QB. I'm assuming not Daniels. I'd be shocked if he played
again if I.
Yeah. I don't mind mixing in Mariota, but he might be a 1 or 2% exposure guy. And then, yeah, I'd probably link up Ertz at that point too.
Yeah, Ertz. I mean, it was nice to see with Ertz that he did that with Terry back. Now Terry wasn't 100; they didn't keep him in full snap, count. But it was at least nice to see that with Terry back in the fold, Ertz still was so heavily involved. And it's really nice to see Mariota getting the ball to him because he was Jaden Daniels' guy. He could have easily been left in the dust with Mariota out there, but Mariota believes in the system and, obviously peppered Zach Ertz last week. That was incredible. Hell, he almost had that massive catch at the end of the game too that just got knocked out of his hands.
Yeah.
So his day could have been even bigger. Like pretty cool to see for Ertz, especially at his age. With Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I put him in the same bucket as Ertz. Not as many targets, but I think Juwan got like 16 or 17 in the last 2 games. I like the game environment. I think there's only so many places the ball can go on the Saints to begin with because they're kind of thin. So Juwan's absolutely in the mix as a round 6 pick for me.
All right. What about the rapper formerly known as Darren Waller?
Not as much, although I will say he's actually doing better this year than I was willing to give him credit for. So I don't see myself picking Tua. I think Waller will be a guy I pick just so I'm not getting too heavy on any of the other names in round 6. It could be like a 3-4% play in 150. Not a priority, but don't mind mixing them in.
Okay. Kyle Schitz.
I don't know about that one.
Versus Seattle.
I don't know about that one. Gross matchup. Cousins clearly just really doesn't have much at all left in the tank. Like that team's in a lot of trouble, I think. Maybe 1 or 2%, something like that, but it's tough to justify after watching how they're playing under Cousins, and it's looking like they're not going to have Drake London again based on how stuff is shaping up this week.
Yeah. Okay, so probably not. Any of the following, we'll just try to rapid fire here real quick. Loveland, likely, Ingram, Otten, Gesicki.
Yes to Gesicki, obviously not a priority. Yes to Otten, not a priority. And
Ingram, likely, Loveland.
Loveland, I love the talent on Loveland. It's just a gross matchup, low game total, low team total, so tough to get to. Likely, I think I want to, just because I really think Baltimore needs to try their best to win. And I didn't mention this earlier, but Derrick Henry just finally doesn't look like Derrick Henry anymore. And he kind of vanished in the first half of last game after the TD. So I think if Baltimore does string together a good game, it's more likely to come through the air than through the ground, even though Lamar's been struggling. So I think that guides me into wanting to pick Likely a little bit as well, because he can hit a deep ball, and he did on Thanksgiving, although didn't quite cross the finish line, but
I know. Bastard,
that was
man.
brutal. I had not to talk pick'ems and stuff, but I had a pick'em that just needed a touchdown. I'm like, why me? I was like sitting there, I'm like, why me?
Yeah, I had a one of the, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was the mashed potatoes or turkey 2 or whatever. One of those slates, I ended up finishing pretty nicely, like 34th. But that touchdown would have vaulted me way higher. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, but you really, that's how that played out.
He was such a good play on Thanksgiving. That was probably the worst possible game where he could have done that in his life.
Yeah, I'm like, God, dude. Jesus. Okay. Who Hames asked, Jaden isn't ruled out yet. No, he's not ruled out.
No,
but
not ruled out
I think that how the Commanders are going to play this is they play this game. If they win, I think they are looking at like, okay, maybe we can win the division because they do play the Eagles twice yet. So I think that they're going to sit Jaden this week, let Mariota play. If they win, that's when we see Jaden come back. If they lose, not sure we see Jaden again, to be fully honest. So I think they're gonna kind of put that scenario out there, but we will see. Who knows? They played Jaden in a game he shouldn't have been playing in anyway. That he got hurt. So what the hell do I know? The coaching staff doesn't know what the hell they're doing right now. Jets drop bombs 15. It's going on. I'm hoping long-time listener, first-time caller here. But if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Do us a favor. Join the crew here. He's asking, or maybe she, any tight end double stack with falling Warren. So I believe what they're saying here is like, if Warren falls, so where's he going right now? He's going ADP 19. Let's say he falls around. He falls, he's at ADP 27, and you already have a tight end. Let's say you have Brock Bowers or McBride. Would you take in Warren in that instance?
I think I would. I wouldn't expect it to work, but that just happens so infrequently and will be such a low-owned combo that I think you just have to close your eyes and do it and be like, hey, if this works, it's like you're going to hit like a 0.5% outcome and lap the field. So I don't think you should pass those spots if you're a drafter with volume. I think even if you don't believe in it, you just have to take a combo that's so low-owned in the field and just be like, let's hope it works.
Yep. Okay, no, that's hopefully that answered the question, but I feel like that's a pretty good answer there. Who Hames said I also had Likely on my high scoring team. Yeah, like God, dude. Oh, so brutal. So when we looked over here, I was just marking him down. So you like the top 10, Likely, and Gesicki. Did you say Ingram? Do you like Ingram?
I don't.
Or only with Nick Stacks, maybe.
Probably only with Nick Stacks, and it would be such a low exposure play that I wouldn't sit here and say I like the play this week. It's like maybe I land on that stack once or twice.
Okay, so it kind of sounded like there was about 10 tight ends that you actually liked, and then like 2 to 3 that you like only with their QB in a stacking scenario there. Okay, exactly. So you do like a lot of the tight ends, and I don't disagree with you. Like a lot of these guys, are good options. Generally, when I'm looking at tight ends, I like to take guys that I think have a really high option to get a touchdown, or they're getting targeted. I like the pepper targets for tight end because that generally, without a touchdown, which is so fluky, will help you at least potentially get double digits on a guy. So, so I like your list here.
Yeah, and this is obviously for the 6-man drafts, right? And the 12-mans, like a lot of these guys will be drafted 100% of the time. So a different story there.
Right.
Because I was going to say, Mason Taylor would be the one guy where I wouldn't feel comfortable telling anyone to spend their own money on it. But I think he's a name worth in consideration if you want something like way off the board with as bad as the Dolphins defense can be at times. And I think Taylor has, again, he's a guy with some nice juice who can hit like a 50-yarder on a single play because, he's got some good athletic ability. So if you want a really 0.5% owned guy, like that's a name I would throw out there.
Okay. Just Drop Bomb says they won the tiny turkey thanks to the Likely fumble. So one man's misfortune was another person's fortune. So congratulations to you on the good one.
I guess he's in the opposite as me. Where
I know, right?
If he was ever going to do that a game in his life, that was the one.
No, so brutal. All right. Let's just I'm just gonna take a like, have you looked at the RBs? Like, how many RBs do you like? After this conversation, let's get into some drafting so people can do
Sure.
here. So how many RBs do you truly like that you're like, I want to target those guys? Not I'm okay taking, but you want to target.
Probably 6 to 8 that I really want to target, and as many as 12 to 15 where I'm like, I'm still fine having them on my team.
So who are your targets?
Targets would be, I'm glad I wrote them down earlier. So I think the first thing to unpack, and we don't have to get into it too much, is like, I think you really have to decide how you rank JT, Achane, and Cook. And I really do think they should be the first 3 picks off the board in drafts this week. I'm not sure I'd put wide receivers ahead of them. Jacobs is somewhat of a target. It feels a little weird because he hasn't exactly flashed the ceiling, but I really do like that spot for him against the Bears. Bucky and Judkins are somewhat targets for me. And then I might be throwing good money after bad, but Breece Hall continues to be a week over week target for me, even though he's in a bad offense. Like, he's just still getting so many touches every week, and another guy who's always capable of breaking off a big play.
Okay. What about Chase Brown? You didn't mention Chase Brown, but with Burrow back, feels like a good option. I mean, he's going as RB9.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, so he falls into the bucket of totally fine having him on my team, but not a priority, because P. Ryan is showing that he's been involved in the red zone and goal line work enough to possibly be cutting into Chase Brown's ceiling. Like, P. Ryan got a lot more touches than I wanted him to get last week in the red zone. As someone who overdrafted Chase Brown all offseason, I'm like, come on, like, what is this?
Yes, I was texting same thing. Well, I mean, I had a lot of them on the slate last week, the Thanksgiving Day slate, and I was texting Wiles, and I'm like, because he was in the same boat. He liked, you know, we talked about this at work, and anyway, so we drafted a lot of Chase Brown, and I'm texting him like, what the fuck are we doing with Samaje Perine? I mean, did Chase Brown like touch somebody's like wife this week? Like, what happened? Like, what are we doing here?
I was like waiting for Moss to come out of retirement and like take a handoff before Chase Brown or something.
Yeah, I'm like,
what is happening?
Get Perine off. He didn't even look good. Get him off the field. What are we doing? So yeah, you're right. Like the whole Perine over Chase Brown.
He even fumbled, and on the next drive they gave him a chance. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right. It's like I'm just cursed. So yeah, again, P. Ryan's been involved enough for me to be concerned about the Chase Brown ceiling, but the fantastic game environment in total kind of offsets that enough where I'm like, I'm not avoiding Chase Brown, just not a priority.
Okay. Steve wants to know how much Ken Walker. I'm assuming how much Ken Walker you take.
Yeah. Speaking of throwing good money after bad, like this guy's running a Bernie Madoff level Ponzi scheme at this point on me. Walker at this point, honestly, though, like to be serious, like it really depends on his ADP. If his ADP is going to sit 36 or lower and he's going to be like 50% owned by the field or less, like I have to keep losing money on this guy. But if his ADP creeps up because the rankings push him up, then he just becomes like another guy to rotate my picks through in the final round, if that makes sense. Like basically what I'm trying to say is, if I think someone's going to be really low owned, I want my exposure to be a lot higher, obviously. Not too high, but if he's going to be 80% owned, then, I mean, Charbonnet just keeps cutting into his ceiling. So it's like, will any of us be shocked if that happens for the 13th game in a row? Like, probably not.
Right. Yeah. Like that's always the issue for Ken Walker, right? Is a lot of his touchdowns kind of need to come from a little bit farther out, because once they get to the goal line, they kind of shove Charbonnet in there. But we did see, I mean, I think Ken Walker got a decent amount of run out around the goal line last game, which was kind of surprising because they generally have been using Charbonnet there. So I think it's kind of a toss up, but you're right. Like kind of low owned makes you kind of want to own him a little bit more, you know, because of that. And Ken Walker, obviously we've seen K9 be pretty good overall. So,
you know, what always lures me into, it's like every week the Seahawks are projected to score like 25 to 28 points. They're favored by a touchdown. It's like on paper, it looks like they should just be able to run the ball all second half and Walker should be able to get there. And I'll stop ranting, but clearly we've seen the results, and every week Walker does not get there. Charbonnet gets a touchdown or something else happens instead.
Who Aim says he only takes K Walker when I'm in the draft. Just Drop Bomb says Kyron feels a little like the same with Corum cutting in. Yeah, I mean the Corum run out right now with Kyron, it kind of sucks. But You know what's funny is like I kind of thought about it. I'm like, what the hell is Corum doing in here with Kyren and all this? Is I think that they are just keeping Kyren a little bit fresh for the playoffs. Like the Rams are making the playoffs. You know, I don't think that that's any foregone conclusion that they don't. So I think that that's kind of what we're seeing is just a little bit more run on Corum, a little bit less on Kyren for the playoffs here, keeping him a little bit fresh. Plus, if Kyren goes down, they want Corum to be comfortable within the offense, and I think that that's what they're doing by getting him more work in there. So
he also looks pretty decent taking these handoffs.
He looks dry.
He's ripping off 5 and 10 yards at a time, and it's like it's just going to keep incentivizing those coaches to keep going back to him if he's doing it. Yeah. So I don't think I'd be surprised if he's getting enough touches to be annoying like yet again this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate the conversations here. I know we didn't really get to the wide receivers, but I think we'll talk about them a little bit in the drafts. But let's get to drafting, everyone's favorite time of year when we get to go into the draft. So I'm gonna stop that screen. Let's share the old UD screen. So how do you want to do this, FK? Obviously, we know we always see you drafting in here. So if you want to, you're not on delay this time. You're on with me. So when I say go, you would want to go in. So we can try to do that, see if we can get in together. If we can't, or you're in an overflow one, you can just draft with me if you want to. Completely up to you how you want to do it.
How about we give all the guys in chat a chance to jump in with you? So
Okay.
I'll stay out for now, and we'll do one together.
Okay.
And then I can fill it if it's not filling.
Let's do it. Hey, in honor of you with the Wildcat, we're going to do Wildcats tonight. All right? I like that. I feel the vibe of good juju with you winning a Wildcat. We're doing a Wildcat. How does it feel, by the way, to just look at your Underdog account and just see all those zeros behind a number?
Honestly, it's really good because
it's not bad.
No, and it's like I've been doing okay this regular season, but kind of like we're all feeling that like the injuries started to take their toll. Scatterbo and Kraft were big ones for me. I know they're big ones for a lot of people. I was personally heavy on Amon-Ra, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm like, just play at least one game down the stretch. So I was getting pretty discouraged. So it's definitely like the perfect time of year to hit something like that, as it feels like the wheels are coming off your season-long teams.
Yeah, no,
it's absolutely. Like this gives me the morale I need to slowly give it all back in 2026.
That's the spirit, kids.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So for all who want to join us, obviously we'll count it down, but we're going to do the Wildcat. So that is the $3 entry. If you would care to join us, kids, I will count it down for those that want to join in. Mike, this is your alert. Mike, all right, we're going in, counting it down now. Ready? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Into the Wildcat we go. All right, we got 2 more to start. Oh, draft starting soon. Hopefully everyone got in. Oh, what the fuck? Go to draft. All right, let's see who got in. Oh boy. All right, we got Huhames in the 3. We are in the 1.1. FK. Let's go. Nice. We got Crutches in here and hit him with the gritty. Michael, are you not in here anymore? Did you fall asleep or did you miss it? You don't gotta lie.
I don't talk to Crutches, but I know who he is. And I see him in drafts, and I'm going to say there's a decent chance he could be on auto draft because I think that's how he might do Wildcat. So maybe something we want to watch for, because then we'll kind of know who his picks might be if we see that.
Yeah. Mike Rob says he's in the pre-flow, not the overflow. So he got in before we got in. Oh, Mike, we're going to get it one of these. I started at 8. You told me there's an 8-second delay. He was autoing earlier, I think.
Cook is the 1.1 in my heart, but not my brain. I think we just do the right thing and take Taylor to kick this one off.
Take JT. I like it.
Yeah.
The best Taylor that's popular, not old, T Swizzle, as some people like to call her. All right. Jonathan Taylor. Let's do it. Tried and true. Yeah, we'll see what comes back to us. But when we're down here, like, do you like going double RB and then filling, or have you wanted to take one of these nice running back or nice wide receivers and then grab a running back a little later, since you like, some of those later guys?
So I haven't done enough reps this week to be in a good rhythm with drafts, but my inclination was RBs are pretty strong up front, and I think it's a week where I'll have 2 RBs a lot by the end of round 3 for sure. and a lot of times by the end of round 2. Because when we were chatting about QBs later, if you're not taking Allen or Lamar or Stafford, like you can kind of wait and have your pick later. So I think it's a good week for 2 RBs early, then wide receiver and tight end and QB are kind of flat overall, and then you find what makes sense to you later in the draft.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna follow you. I mean, again, you've shipped a contest, I haven't. So when you say jump, I'm gonna say how high. So I might be driving the ship, but you're navigating. All right.
Just keep in mind, I'm usually doing most of it on Saturday, so I'm like rusty like Burrow coming back right now, where the timing might not be there.
No, you're fine. Just know we only have 30 seconds because, as you see on stream, sometimes we are arguing
for sure.
and figuring out, and I'm like, somebody just tell me what the hell to pick because my hand is sweating from all this conversation.
I've watched enough sibling rivalry where that clock is always in my head because I can hear Meg telling Steve to pull up the board or do something.
Oh my God. Did you ever see the one where, because normally Meg drives, right? Did you ever see the one where she couldn't and Steve was driving and she's like, Steve, the board. And she's like yelling at Steve. Oh, that was one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love that. That was awesome. All right. So we're up next. What's this guy got? What's Vanquish have here? Allen. Okay. So we'll see if he's willing to where's Higgins? Oh, that's down here a little bit, so he's probably not gonna even worry about that for now. I mean,
I think what I'm gonna do is if he doesn't, okay, so he took Adams. I think we should pick Jacobs or Bucky. If you have a strong lean, I would say pick your preference. So like let's lock that up to start with.
Man.
I slight lean. I'll tell you, I slight lean Jacobs and then taking Egbuka right behind him to do it that way.
Gotcha. All right, I like that because then that opens up Baker for us, which
exactly. Or if we take Bucky, you're a little bit more locked up in terms of what you can do later. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because I really like Baker this week.
The good news is too, I mean, obviously I shouldn't be talking about this out loud, but it's kind of friends and family draft. It's like, there's not a lot of other Tampa players at this point that anyone should be reaching for. So like, there shouldn't be a ton of incentive for anyone to just take an unstacked Baker, you know?
That's true.
So when you're doing these 6-mans, you would like to think that once Bucky and Egbuka are off, that you have a good chance of getting them. But of course, now that I said that, I've opened the door for someone to do the most obvious thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was just asking Jetstrop what his username is. He said that is his username on here. So, all right, well, we're going to look out for you. We'll do a couple of drafts, so you have an opportunity to get in with us.
I recognize Jets. I actually don't really talk to anyone in the community outside you guys, but I draft so much that I see names and I see Jets in the pods all the time. I recognize that name for sure.
Oh my God, what an honor! You say I don't talk to. Yeah, that's right. Suck it, Badge Bros.
I watch streams. I'm just not the most social person, so I'm not out there talking.
You're social enough in ours for sure. I mean, that's awesome. I love that. Williams says Godwin is the wide receiver one there.
You guys made the mistake of entertaining my stupid jokes, and apparently not here to stay.
No, I absolutely love it. I love when the chat's fired up and saying. I mean, look, we got Mike Robin here. I mean, the chat lord, he always says shit to Bruni, which is awesome. Love it.
Do you mind doing me a favor? Do you mind like only highlighting QB, running back, tight end, just to get rid of the noise?
Yep. Understand. I'm a phone drafter.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Oh shit! I just clicked on Matt Stafford. Goodness gracious, that is not Baker.
I think we definitely want. By the way, we didn't talk about London, but like, I think his price tag is kind of like, I think that's where he's supposed to be. So I don't think you're getting a discount with that questionable tag. Like, that's just my Drake London take. Gotcha. Like, he's fine if he's in. I just don't think he's going to magically move up to like 18 or 19 where this is some crazy value.
So we're up. Are we even trying to push Baker or are we just taking him?
I think taking Baker's fine because I think at the end of the draft it's going to be deep enough to do some stuff.
So what do you want to do at wide receiver here? We got Olave, Higgins, Myers.
For this particular draft, I think I just like rolling with Olave, and then we formed a nice little game stack, and we can get our tight end in round 6 and just chat about it at the end.
All right. So the back injury thing, that's non-concern for you?
No, I think I was a little more worried last week, and then when he played, I think I'm just kind of okay with it at this point.
Okay, 10-4.
And then if he's out, then, come back and blame me later.
Okay.
But I was more worried last week. Like, I really thought he was going to be out last week, and I was surprised when he wasn't.
Gotcha. All right, so now we just need tight end. Oh, what the
I know, I do this all the time too, where I forget the way you're supposed to do it.
I know. So stupid. All right, so obviously Brenton Strange is there. I mean, obviously, pretty much all the guys that you like, outside of the top guys are left. So how do you want to play it here?
Let's see. Most people have a tight end too, so we'll have to see what the person after Crutches has planned. I don't know who his QB
so we
is.
got tight end. So yeah,
But really, that's the only person
Mike Ball. He has Burrow.
Okay. I mean, if he takes Strange, he takes him. I can't tell who he's going to take at tight end because you can kind of do it. He can kind of do anything he wants.
Let's see what he does here. Let's see if he might not even take a tight end here yet.
But he should be the only one who takes one, just because you don't see two tight end teams very often.
Yeah.
He also, I was going to say he's probably an experienced drafter, so he's not going to take tight end anyway until after these two picks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't need to. Yeah. I always find that funny when I'm in drafts and like everyone, especially in like the ones where it's only 4 people drafting and everyone has the QB already, and then somebody in like round 4 takes their QB as the last QB. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't need to do that.
That's usually me if I'm doing 3 at once, and I get so mad at myself. I'm like I just sit there and I'm like, it's like this draft is ruined.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I do prefer Strange out of everyone now that it looks like he'll be there for us.
Okay. Obviously, I like Strange too, so I'm completely on board with that.
I would pick Joanne if we didn't do Olave, but I'm not taking 2 Saints for like the reasons we were talking earlier. But like this whole Baker Egbuka permutation, like I'm going to enjoy finishing it with Juwan Johnson in round 6 this week as well as a strategy.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to take a Saints player?
No, definitely not. I just happen to like the Johnson play because he's like free in round 6 and getting good volume.
Yep. All right. So that leaves us 1-2-2-1. Baker, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Egbuka, Chris Olave, and Brenton Strange.
Yeah, I think great touchdown equity at the running back position. And obviously this entire team we put together is, contingent on the Bucs game going off. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that feels good. All right. Let's go back in once again to the Wildcat. So for anybody that missed out on round 1, come back round 2 here. We will count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Entering. All right.
And by the way, in chat, I totally agree with Jets that I wouldn't take London in 5, but if he's there in 6, like absolutely pick him because wide receiver is going to have some pretty good late swaps this week. So I like that shout.
Yep. Crutches in the 1.1 again. And nobody else from friends and family in here. I see Enos though. Good drafter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say it? Enos in 3us? I don't know how to...
Yeah, I've never said it out loud, but I see that name a lot, and I know.
Yeah, I know the name,
I know that user has some good results too. Like that's definitely a good drafter.
Do you draft anything else other than NFL on here at all? Are you a golf guy or NBA or anything?
Not for dailies, but because I had some good luck in NFL last year, I did end up doing golf and baseball, and I think in golf I broke even, and then in baseball I actually made small profit, and it was like a fun little sweat for like the 7 months that the baseball season goes on for.
Yeah, so I'm a big golf guy, so love the scramble, love the majors contest with the 4 majors. Those are nice.
We'll have to talk golf next year then, because
definitely.
I'm not really an MLB guy. Like I feel like I would just be giving all my money away in the dailies, but I do play the PGA weekly stuff with each tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, the golf's fun. I like golf a lot. He said it's connected to Incubus. Oh, 10-4. I do like
the band. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
All right, so we're up next here. Come on, don't take Cook. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take Jamar Chase. You know you wanna. Or fuck me. Okay. So how do you want to play this now? Puka, Chase. Do we go Allen? Do you want to take Bijan? Adams.
What do you think about taking Allen first to block that drafter, and then we can potentially get Chase if he skips him, or set up for Higgins and other stuff later? Let's do Allen.
Yeah, let's do it.
I just like maximizing my options. So I think if you do Chase, you run, like obviously if you do Chase, Allen probably goes. He might just take Puka and Chase. Yeah.
10-4.
That's fine.
So yeah, so we can go Bijan, we can go Adams. I mean, I do like Adams as well. Yeah, I mean, how do you want to play it here?
Not crazy about the matchup, but he's going to get a ton of volume. I think let's just take Bijan because I don't think it's a good week to just sacrifice running back too heavily.
Okay.
This also gives us a good chance to see how people in the 1.6 react to different things because it's going to be interesting with how the combos shake out there because you can do so much from that position.
I will tell you, it's pretty interesting to listen to your mind work out of your mouth. Because how you think about things is very good. Like I try to as well. What on stream here, it's so hard because you're trying to talk and Bruni and I are always fucking around. So it's like on the stream, I never really get to like show people like how I think about things like outside of the stream because you're trying to navigate everything here. But it's funny, like how you're talking about things is how I try to manipulate drafts when I'm doing things like the way you took Allen there to one, open up your opportunities, and two, see if maybe that guy didn't take Chase and you could have came back and got Chase because taking Chase there, that guy was probably taking Josh Allen, 9 out of 10 times. So, but you're right. Like the way that your thought process is, it's funny. I see it and I know it, but like on stream, I can never show it because you're trying to navigate 43 things.
And I've never said any of this out loud before. So it gives me the opportunity to be like, is what I'm saying even okay advice? Does it make any sense? Like maybe the feedback people will be like, none of what you're saying makes any sense. And then that gives me something to think about too.
No, and I think, a lot of people like drafting's fun. I think a lot of people take it to, they just like it and they're like, oh, I'm going to take best player available. And I know I need some stacks. But like, there's a real true, I don't call it science to it, but there's like a strategy to it, right? Like it's just like any other game. There's a kind of a right and a not so right way to draft. So I think you thinking it out loud is good for people. All right. So we got Bowers, Judkins, Chase. I mean, Chase Brown's interesting if we want to have that bring back. Higgins down there.
Let's take your preferred one out of Judkins or Chase Brown because I think this other guy's going to go double running back. Yeah, or at least he's not going to take receiver, so we can wait on receiver. So Judkins or Brown, I would say whichever one you prefer.
You know what? I think personally, I'm going to go with a lot of Chase there. So let's do Judkins to be a little different.
Okay. I actually prefer Judkins too. I just wanted to make you say it.
Okay. Is it going to take Judkins? There you go. What the hell is it doing? Yeah, like
Judkins, I think has some good touchdown equity in this game, and he's been getting a lot of touches. So I like it.
And plus they allow him to run the Wildcat too for him, which is fun. So, but yeah, oops, sorry. Here, I'm gonna take this off here.
That's okay.
Oh fuck me, I did it wrong again. Okay, so Olave, London, Higgins.
Is Warren gone? I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but he would be there. But yeah, Strange is the next one. Yeah, we got 10 seconds. What do you want to do here? I mean, you want to go Higgins and.
Yeah, let's do Higgins.
Okay, because at least that goes with the game stack there.
Yeah, I was debating Higgins or Waddle. In my head, I actually think Waddle's in a good bounce back spot, but Higgins makes more sense for the team we're picking.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to do at tight end? It's just excuse me.
Honestly, I'll say if I'm not taking tight end early, I'm kind of content to just let it come to me in round 6 and see what's available, unless I'm trying to set up a back stack. So that's always a tough one for me to answer. Okay.
All right. Well, then that's fine. Well, then let's look at wide receiver here.
But one thing I'll say from a strategy perspective this week is in pods where I'm not taking QB early like we are, I think this is a good week for doing QB round 5, tight end round 6 a lot with like that Lawrence Strange, like maybe Baker Otten. Like you get the idea. I think there's a lot of decent options there to finish drafts that way because I think it's such a good week for two running backs early.
Okay. Have you guys seen Achane Allen combo yet?
Not yet. But prior to tonight with Andrew, I've only done like 5 or 6 playbooks, so I don't really have much sample size for me.
Yeah,
I've not seen that one.
Mike Ross says, make sure you giving the stream a like, people, especially with the hot knowledge being dropped. Yes, if you haven't already.
Hot something's being dropped. I don't know if it's knowledge.
J. Jeff seems like a good click, but never feels good versus Washington. I mean, Jefferson should be a good click versus Washington, but it's the quarterback play that he gets right now is absolutely dog duty.
I don't think I like Olave enough where I would recommend him like a second time in a row, although he's falling a ton. So maybe we just do it if this person, I mean,
it's sitting there.
He's ADP 18 and it's 29. Like, honestly,
we just do it just because?
I think we just do it because it's not like I like the three names under him like so much more to say let's do that instead.
10-4. Let's do it. Why not? Why not us?
And then we can click over to just tight end to finish it off. I think this is the perfect pod to just, yeah, you got it.
I figured, yeah. I mean, I saw him sitting there earlier, and then I was like, I wanted to pop it off because I didn't want anyone to come. Well, actually, no, we don't have friends and family. But...
And then these are all very valuable swaps in the event that Kincaid can't go, and Allen can obviously do it himself. So that's something I don't mind this week.
Yep. No, I like that. That's a good way to finish that off there. So for us, 1-2-2-1. Josh Allen, Bijan, Judkins, Higgins, Olave, and Kincaid. 3 Q tags. What could go wrong? Hey, just this is what it is.
I think you could say we're martingale-ing this draft here.
I don't know what Crutches is going to do at QB, but his room is Taylor, Irving, Adams, Michael Wilson, Kyle Pitts.
I think he's going to go Brissett.
Interesting.
I think he'll go Brissett because he has Wilson, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Brissett, because he can't do Stafford, and he's not doing Cousins.
No, like he could go unstacked Lawrence, which I think he does sometimes, but I think he'll do Brissett.
Let's see.
Yep, unstacked Lawrence it is.
Yeah, unstacked Lawrence.
Because Lawrence does run a little. I mean, I think a lot of his game logs have 15 to 30 rushing yards, and
yeah,
I don't mind that either.
Okay.
I don't do the unstack thing a lot, but I think if you get yourself in a spot like Crutches where that's how he prioritized, like what he did is totally fine. Just not something I'm going out of my way to do.
Okay. All right. Let's do one more Wildcat, and then we will get off for the evening. Michael, alerting you once again. Michael. All right. Getting in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Waiting on one, Michael. Waiting on one. Alert.
I know I said it before we went live, but an hour later, it still is amazing how much easier it is to just sit in the audience and talk some shit every once in a while than to be on camera for 90 minutes straight and have to actually vocalize your thoughts.
Yes. Yeah, man. It's a science over here too, getting behind the camera. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a lot of fun. I love chatting.
Yeah, you guys make it look really easy each week. I don't know how much experience you have overall, but as someone just doing it as an amateur right now, I'm like, it's very polished from your end.
I think this is year 4 for me of doing this kind of stuff. So 2 years at one company and now 2 years old Fanspeak here. So Jets Drop Bomb says I might be in this one. He is there, or she, maybe she. 2. I have no idea. All right, let's see. We got Jet Drops Bomb into 2, we the 3, Mike the 4, Crutches the 5, and 2 other fucks. No idea. Mike Ross says, hey, my job here is hard. Being the chat lord.
I don't know who Goods is, but I recognize the name, and Goods is a solid drafter as well.
Jets, are you on the old Twitter machine? He said he, him. Oh my God, please with the pronouns. He, him, his. Nice.
Yeah, Jets, I was watching the Overzat did his bash show at night instead of the middle of the day for once, and Jets actually got picked, but had some Wi-Fi issues. So got like a 5-minute glimpse of him.
Was that more? Was that before or after Mike Raub has been on with Overzet?
Oh, Mike's was a lot earlier, right? Jets was only on tonight, where Pete drew the winners tonight.
Oh,
Jets was one of them. Yeah.
It was funny. Bruni and I have actually had Overzet on this show once. He came on with us as a I don't know, a thank you, I guess. But all right, we are up. Do we want JSN or do you just want to take Cook? I think you said Cook is your priority.
Yeah, I want Cook because I just love early running back this week.
10-4. I'm all.
I will mix in JSN, by the way. It's like if and just to talk it through a little, as someone who does 150, if I find that halfway through, like my percentages are creeping up too high, I do purposely level it out a bit. But going into the week, like Cook's 1.3 minimum for me, like definitely ahead of JSN right now.
10-4.
Yeah.
Heard. All right, Mike's up here. We're gonna come back around. Bijan, Adams, Jacob Henry. I think
I like Adams here a lot to balance it out. Two very strong picks.
Yeah, so I like Adams there too.
Arguably, Adams, the goal line running back for the Rams.
Oh my God,
it's unreal what they do inside the 5 with this guy.
Yeah, he leads the NFL in red zone targets. He leads the NFL in touchdowns. Like he's just absolutely. Sean McVay had to have such a hard on when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go get Devontae Adams." I don't even think he could sit down. Like the man is just. Hey, do you want Bucky? By the way, here.
I was going to say I would like to.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything. I'm like, please let Bucky fall back here.
Yeah. Like Bucky and Warren are probably my two favorite. Like right around where we just picked. Like those are the guys I'll take the most of. Because it is a little weird to see Olave ADP 18. I like it in game stacks. I'm not sure how I feel about it as like a standalone play just yet.
10-4. Hey Jets, are you on the old Twitter machine? If you are, my handle is right here. Get at us on Twitter too. You should be in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you should sign up for the Substack, get in the Discord. FK constantly in there just dropping knowledge on how to earn money on bets too. My man was on a heater of just dropping in bets. He's like, yeah, I kind of like this. And like halfway through a game, he's like, bang. And I'm like, Jesus, this guy fucking can't miss. Oh, absolute bangers. You got anything early for the? Actually, hold on. We'll do this pick and I ask you. All right, so I
was gonna say I like just securing our stack and grabbing Stafford right here.
Yeah, 10-4.
The team's a little chalky, but there's such easy ways to differentiate at the end. So I have no issues doing stuff like this all the time.
Yeah. I think we're fine here. And again, Who said it last week? I'd rather have a chalk team and win than not. I mean, if I got to split a little money, I'm okay with that.
In round 6, there's just so many viable picks who are like 60% owned, 50% owned. Like I'm never worried about taking the most common combination in like the first 3 rounds, you know?
Yep. So what do you want to do coming back here? I mean, we got wide receiver, tight end left. Higgins is interesting. I do like Higgins, especially if he comes back here. Jay Jettas, man, like one of these times he has to be fine, but God, Max Grossman sucks. JJ McCarthy blows. All right, we're up. What do you want to do?
I was going to say my preferred were going to be Higgins and Jefferson, and I assumed Jets was planning to take one of them, so I'm content taking the other. So I think I'm good with Jefferson, and let's just hope that the Vikings QB room can actually show up for 1 week.
When was the last time that you saw Jay Jettas go 5, 8, 6, and 1 in a row, like in points? That is,
and especially, I'm kind of leaning Aaron Jones will find a way to play, but in the event he's out, like Mason isn't a targets guy. Like Addison and Jefferson on paper should theoretically see a lot of targets this week. So I think the ceiling is for sure there.
Yeah.
It's just, can the QBs actually complete a pass for once?
God, their QB play has been so bad. It's just so funny to know that they had Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold and some of these guys, which I don't really think that they're great quarterbacks, but they are way better than what the fuck JJ McCarthy and Max Brosman are putting out.
They really backed themselves into a corner, pushing all the chips in the middle on a guy who wasn't even asked to do a lot in college. Then, it's like you have a win now franchise, and it's like, good luck, I guess. I don't know what they do next. Probably panic acquire Kyler.
All right, so we're up here. How
about we do Ertz for a little push-pull correlation and just go and have that Jefferson Ertz kind of thing, and just hope the game is a little back and forth.
You're speaking to my heart here, so 100%.
That's a move I like to do too. Is just if the projections seem a little equal to me, I'm always going to favor correlation, right? Because if you pick the right game, the projections are going to rise and get closer to that ceiling outcome. So
Yep.
I don't force correlation, but it's always an excellent tiebreaker in my opinion at worst. Yeah.
So we went 1-2-2-1. Matt Stafford, James Cook, Bucky Irving, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Zach Ertz, which you said, like round 6 is a good way to get different. Yeah. I doubt a ton of people will be having this team and clicking Zach Ertz there as well. Obviously when you have Mark Andrews and, some better names there for namesake wise. But yeah, I like this. If Zach Ertz wins me a ton of money, I'm getting a Zach Ertz jersey. All right. No, that was good too. So I think we drafted some really nice teams. Man, it was just honestly like a pleasure to have you on, dude. It's you've been in the chat, you've been in the Discord, you obviously have been in the winner circle on Underdog. So it was nice to have you on the Fanspeak network as well. So any knowledge or any of those bets that you're going to be putting in Discord that you want to maybe drop to the chat here? Anything that you like for Thursday night?
A little bit early for that, so I don't want to throw anything out there at random, but I'll for sure drop some stuff in the Discord. So I'm not the sharpest out there, but I've had okay results, and maybe it'll give a couple new people a nudge to take the plunge and jump in and share some picks and some knowledge as well.
Definitely. Yeah. A lot of knowledge going into the Discord. So if you aren't in it already, get at us, sign up, we'll get you an invite into the Discord. Just drop bombs. If you do have Twitter, follow me on Twitter. It's at arob23, which is down in my tag there. But yeah, get at us. Just, we appreciate any of you guys who are new to the Fanspeak network. Hit the subscribe button. We go literally daily. We got some sort of stream coming for you guys. So you will see my beautiful face on Friday night for DGen Dads. Hopefully Bruni back in. If not, might be calling on some more people for guest spots. If not, maybe I'll just give out an absolute boatload of bets because have been doing pretty well in the props market. So appreciate you guys jumping in there with us. And as always, Fanspeak Network, we do have the Fanspeak DGen subscription, $34.99 for the entire year. So if you haven't signed up already, you should be doing so. FK, obviously been a pleasure. We will see you in the UD streets. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Been a pleasure.
Yep. All right, guys. See you guys all later on. DGen Dads, out.
Good luck, guys.
It ain't just the wins, it's the ride, the vibe. DGen Dads forever, keep the dream alive. DGen Dads, Friday night bangers. Touchdown props flying like a Vegas Ranger. From best ball streets to the prop bet throne. Stacking green tickets, we never grind alone. DGen Dads, turn the slate to gold. High risk, high reward, watch the story unfold. 9:30 Eastern, YouTube lights flash. DGen Nation rise.